Welcome to this edition of BurnTech University from United States Stove Company. In today's video, we'll show you how to properly replace the room blower in your 6041 multi-fuel stove. For today's project, you'll need a 5/16 inch wrench or socket. You may also want to have handy a pair of wire snips and a 5/16 inch nut driver. To start, make sure your stove is completely cooled and then remove the power cord from the back of your stove. Then, using your 5/16 inch wrench or socket, remove the 5 screws securing the back of the stove. Once the screws are removed, push the 2 side panels away from the back panel, and then you can lift and remove the back panel from the stove. Be sure to set it aside out of your work area. Now, going back to your stove, take careful note of the location of each of the wires connected to the back side of the control panel. Carefully remove each plug and move it aside out of your way. Next, remove the 2 screws holding the side panel in place, and then lift and remove this panel from the stove and set it aside with the rear panel. The room blower is secured with 4 bolts. Carefully remove each of these bolts, and then your room blower can easily be lifted out. Before removing the old blower, you'll need to clip the wire tie holding the wires together, and then carefully unplug the 2 wire leads connected to the motor. Before installing your new room blower, check the gasket on the back of the stove to make sure it's in good shape. If it's torn or missing parts, it will need to be replaced. If the gasket's in good shape, it's now time to reinstall your new blower. Carefully set the blower in place and then replace the 4 screws securing it to the stove. Make sure to tighten these completely. Once the screws are tight, you can now reconnect the 2 wire leads to the wiring harness. We recommend that you replace the wire tie previously removed to keep the wiring harness neat and tidy. Next, reconnect all of the wire leads back to their corresponding terminals on the control board. You can then replace the side panel back on the stove and tighten the 2 screws at the top. Once complete, you can now place the rear panel onto the back of the stove, securing it with the 5 screws that you've previously removed. You've now successfully replaced the room blower in your stove. Be sure to plug it back in and check the stove for proper operation. If you have any additional questions on replacing the room blower in your 6041 stove, please call our customer service at 1-800-750-2723 or visit www.usstove.com. Thank you for watching BurnTech University.